Have you ever felt it? That quiet distance that can start to grow in a community, a kind of drift that slowly separates people? Well, we're going to dig into a faith-based message that takes this issue head on, with a really powerful call to bridge the gaps that form between us. So this message really speaks to two sides of the same coin. On one hand, you have folks who feel overlooked, marginalized, pushed away. And on the other hand, you have those who are maybe in a more comfortable spot, who might be stepping back without even realizing it. We're going to explore both of these experiences. All right, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with that main call to draw near. Then we'll spend some time on a word for those who are hurting, followed by a moment of reflection for those who are comfortable. After that, we'll look at the central example in the source material and, finally, map out our shared path to unity. At its heart, this whole message is a call to action. It's about actively pushing back against that drift we can all see in our communities. It's about making a conscious decision to move toward people instead of just passively letting that distance grow. So let's start here with a direct message for anyone who has ever felt like they're on the outside looking in, for anyone who has felt overlooked or just invisible. The source material has some incredibly powerful things to say to you. I mean, just look at how direct this is. It's not just a bit of encouragement, it's a flat-out declaration of your value. The point it's making is that no matter how other people might see you or don't see you, your worth and your visibility are secure on a much, much higher level. And this right here is the foundation for that whole idea. This verse from the Psalms isn't just a comforting thought, it's presented as an absolute promise. It suggests that going through hard times doesn't create distance from God. It actually invites a really unique and profound kind of closeness. So the crucial point here is this clear separation between your circumstances and your true identity. A tough season, whether that's financial struggles, rejection, you name it, is temporary. But your value, your calling, that's presented as a permanent thing, something that was settled long before any struggle ever began. Okay, now the message takes a turn. It shifts its focus and turns its attention to those who maybe aren't feeling hurt or overlooked, to those of us who are in a position of comfort and maybe even influence. And this is so important how this is framed. The source is incredibly careful to say, hey, this is not about pointing fingers or making you feel guilty. Nope. It's meant to be a gentle, loving invitation to just look inward and really consider our own role in the community. This verse is posed as this really deep, self-reflective question. It pushes back hard against the idea of a passive faith. It suggests that real, authentic love has to show up as action. It has to become compassion when we're faced with someone else's need. This captures the core tension just perfectly. It acknowledges a very human instinct, right? To keep a safe distance from messy, difficult situations. But then it immediately slams that idea up against the true nature of love, which, according to this message, is supposed to be active, engaged, and always up close. So if love is meant to be up close and personal, what does that actually look like? The source material points to one central figure as the ultimate example of how to build bridges across any divide. Just think about the power in that for a second. In a society with all these rigid rules about who was clean or unclean, touching someone like a leper was a radical act. It was a physical demonstration of acceptance. For us today, that might look like sitting with the person who always eats alone, or reaching out to someone our culture tells us to keep at arm's length. And the pattern just keeps going. Sharing a meal in that culture was a huge deal, a profound sign of fellowship. So by eating with tax collectors and sinners, the outcasts of his day, he was making a bold statement that no one was outside of his community. It really challenges us. Who are we inviting to our table? And this just brings the whole point home. This wasn't a few isolated incidents. It was a consistent pattern of behavior, a deliberate choice to align himself with the marginalized, offering them solidarity when society was offering them separation. It's the difference between just feeling sympathy and actually standing with someone. This quote completely reframes our motivation for compassion. It takes acts of service from being simple charity and elevates them to a sacred interaction. The idea here is that helping someone in need isn't just a good deed. It's a direct act of love toward God himself. So we have the model, and the why is crystal clear. This question pivots us from the example to the application. How do we, in our own lives, in our own communities, actually build this bridge? And this is where it all comes back together, the hurting and the comfortable. Everyone is brought back into the picture. The path forward isn't a one-sided job. It's presented as a shared calling that requires everyone to take part. And you've got to love the beautiful parallel here. One group is called to have internal strength, to hold on to their faith and their worth. The other group is called to external action, to move closer, to listen with more intention, to love in a more meaningful way. Both are active roles, and both are absolutely essential. And this verse provides the whole foundation for that shared path. The core of a healthy community, as it's described here, is this idea of mutual concern, a radical, fundamental shift from thinking me to thinking we. These three principles are pretty much the bedrock of the entire solution. First, our unity should reflect the example of Christ, not just what's trending in culture. Second, unity isn't built on everyone being the same. It's built on love. And third, and this is a big one, real healing starts when we choose the compassionate path over the easy one. This is the ultimate grounding statement. It's simple, it's non-negotiable, and it supports the entire message. If the divine standard is impartiality, if God doesn't play favorites, then any community trying to reflect that standard has to reject favoritism and division too. So this brings us to the final call to action. It's about a conscious movement toward others. It's about lifting people up, just as we've been lifted. And ultimately, it's about making our internal beliefs visible through external actions and love. And we end on this, a final, powerful question that just brings everything home. It's not asking if we're perfect, it's asking if the direction of our community and our own actions inside it truly mirrors the compassionate, unifying heart we're called to follow. That's a question to sit with long after this explainer is over.